to break it. Probably be me, right?
Well, hey guys, welcome back to another episode of 0 to 60, and we're here with the F80 8-speed. This thing is a bit of an animal. It is basically a good friend of ours, Alex's, brainchild. The idea of it is drift car, street car, maybe drag car, 1,000 horsepower, but take the abuse. Not be worrying about hurting DCT clutches, but still be able to have a nice car to take his better half for a coffee on a Sunday. And I think he's done a pretty good job. We'll get into the engine shortly, but I just want to show you a few things. So the paint was done just over a year ago. It is a Ferrari purple, and the GoPro's not going to do it any justice. It is straight off the gun. It hasn't been wet sanded. It hasn't been polished. It needs to have that done, which is getting done on the weekend. This car has definitely been a bit of a process. Yeah, full redone, fresh interior, suede Alcantara headlining. I've forgotten what color it is. These are obviously F80 M3 seats. Alex has just ordered some G80 carbon seats to go in. Looking forward to seeing what they're like. But yeah, this thing, everything is fresh. It's a very, very nice car. Now, something I want to stipulate with this video. What we're doing, putting an 8-speed with a Turbo Lamik in an F80, I think this is the first one. I'm confident this is the first one in the world. Nobody that I'm aware of has actually completed it. And what I wanted to sort of share with you guys is where we're at with this process. Getting the chassis to be happy having the wrong transmission in there has been difficult. It's not perfect. We've done a lot of coding on the engine tune, coding on the chassis, but we're getting close. And I'm hoping that we're going to be able to take it for a drive today and not throw any error codes and it feel like it's supposed to be there. All right, the exciting stuff. It's been a busy day. Let's show you the engine. So this is Alex's second or third F80 M3, and it's what his final vision of one is. Obviously we've got the CS bonnet, which apparently he doesn't like now. He wants to go back to a steel version. But we have a fully built engine. If anyone's particularly interested, I can get what the full specs on it are, which pistons, rods he's used, that sort of thing. Something that stood out to me, it has got a copper head gasket. He is building it for a 1,000 wheel horsepower figure, a setup. It has got a Simply Tuning single turbo kit. Currently got a Garrett G35 1050 on it. Not sure if that's going to stay there forever. If he doesn't make his 1,000 wheel horsepower, he might put a bigger one on. We'll see. He has gone to an interchiller setup, which is why the intercooler is wrapped, and these are ice cold. They don't look it, but they are ice cold. What that interchiller does, it uses the air conditioning to cool down the coolant for the intercooler, and in the testing that he did when he first fitted this kit, he was getting, I think, 10 degrees below ambient intake air temperatures, which is pretty wild. We'll see how that lasts when it's making 1,000 horsepower. But yeah, pretty serious setup. He has opted for a built 8 HP. So we said just throw a stock one in, see how it goes. He said he doesn't want to break anything. Should hold 1,000 horsepower relatively easily, even for the drifting and abuse that Alex is going to give it. But yeah, built 8 HP 70. We're using the Turbo Lamik, I think, or it might be the Dominoworks. We've got both adapters, but an N54 to 8 HP adapter you can use on an S55, but it does make the converter bolts a little bit difficult. You've got to do the converter up through the starter hole. And when you've got an intercooler setup like this, removing the starter motor is a pain in the ass. But keep that in mind. The adapter does exist to basically get an 8-speed into one of these. He has got a custom one-piece tail shaft. He removed the original M3 one because he wants to clutch kick it. He wants to abuse it. But yeah, you may also notice we've got twin caliper setups on the rear. That's because it's got a handbrake. Yeah, this was a factory DCT car. We have got the manual clutch pedal fitted, and we got our prototype of the clutch emulator that we're going to use on these type of setups, which is a remote slave cylinder setup. So this car has a master cylinder, a slave cylinder, and then our clutch emulator is on the end of that. That was the only way we could do it with the BMW style of clutch pedal. All right, I know it's a bit of an intro. This thing has been a lot of work. The car has been in and out of this shop for over a year. Even that was while it was going through the built motor process. It did have a DCT until a few months ago, and then getting the coding right so you can actually start it up with no errors has taken some time, but we're getting there. We're getting there. F-Series CAN integration for Turbo Lamik cars is pretty close. Yeah, something to note, we have got a couple of errors that we haven't managed to work out yet. It's got a TPMS error. That may be because it hasn't been driven in a very long time and it needs to recalibrate. It's got a battery error. Again, probably the same thing, not being used. Battery's been flat a couple of times. And we've also got an issue where the reverse lights work, but it doesn't turn the reversing camera on. So they're the main things where we're stuck at, but we're getting pretty close, and I thought, let's show everyone where we're at with this thing. Guys, Shane's going to come and take it for a drive while I watch the Turbo Lamik. I'm going to take you guys through the adaptation process, so show you what I look for when I'm doing my first drive in an 8-speed car. See if it breaks. Well, it's time to take the F80 for a drive, and all right, it does look good. I'm glad it's got the adjustable suspension. Now, I just need to reiterate, this is a work in progress. The car is not ready. The paint is not ready. This is its first real test drive, and to be honest, I actually thought it might be a good opportunity to show you guys the procedure that I go through for adaptations on the gearbox, as it's a good way of knowing if there's anything wrong. Basically, it's getting all the data and if the clutches are doing what they should be doing. Shane is going to be piloting. I'm going to be on the laptop. In fact, I better get things connected, and you guys will see us shortly. Does she start still?
Let's find out.
No. Okay, I think the engine ECU is going to need to do some adapting because it was just flashed, and again, it hasn't been driven yet. Just give it a little blip. Yeah. It is also running a return fuel system, so if you do start it too quickly, if the low pressure fuel pumps haven't primed, there's not going to be any fuel in the rails. So maybe that's what was happening. The joys of chasing 1,000 horsepower. You ready? You ever driven anything this powerful?
No.
All right. Oh, and actually, in case you guys are wondering, this is Shane. You've been on the channel before.
Surely, in the background.
No, you were the main man when we were doing rod bearings on an S62 back in the day.
That was a while ago.
It was. All right. Okay, so we're up and running. Turbo Lamik is all connected. I'm not doing any data logging on the engine side right now. We are dealing with a tire pressure warning. The other light is just from the handbrake. So we do need to see if that's going to reset, and I think that's just about because it hasn't been driven much. This car wouldn't have done 50 kilometers in the last year, or since the built engine went in it. Maybe it did, I don't know, but it definitely hasn't done a lot of work, and I think all the resets and the messing around and the coding we've been doing with it, it's put the TPMS into a weird state. So we need to work out if that is going to self-clear, or if there is something else that we need to look into. Hopefully it's not transmission related, and we also need to see if that battery error comes back. But aside from that, what I'm going to be watching as we roll out, in fact, Shane,
yes,
with this car, there's two ways that it can be put into gear with the Turbo Lamik. You can use the manual shifter, well, the DCT sequential shifter, or the positive paddle to pull it down into gear. But you've got to have your foot on the brake, but you just want to show everyone.
Foot on the brake, paddle, straight second.
So we are in second mode, so we're in second gear, but this is manual mode. There is a rotary knob just down on the right-hand side. Can you change it down into P1? P1, so 2 clicks to the left, that's P4. Okay, now that is full auto mode. Now, unfortunately, we don't have the auto drive signal being sent to the dashboard. The Turbo Lamik is not set up to send the signal that the DCT cluster wants to see. But that is something that Turbo Lamik are going to be working on, so that when you're in auto mode, you can actually get drive up on the dash. But unfortunately, drive is the one thing we can't project right now onto the dash cluster. So it's full auto mode. We've put it into gear. We've noticed that we've gone to 0 clutch slip. So that means that basically at no load, all of the clutches are engaged, and we've got full torque converter clutch slip. So these two things are what I'm going to watch for the first drive. Engine RPM is working. Gearbox torque is currently 20. We're getting the torque value from the DME over CAN bus, and hopefully it's really accurate. Shane, let's see if it'll pull away.
Let's try.
Nice. We'll turn the AC down because it always sounds really loud on the GoPro. Feels pretty good. Torque hovering around. So it goes down into the minuses as we slow down. You might want to air up before you go out. The button on the left. Yes. Plenty of no scrape. Okay, we've got automatic stop start error. We don't need automatic stop start. We'll ignore that for now. We're driving. About. We're shifting. We're going to shift. Third gear. So we saw about 70 Newton meters of torque. That's pretty good. It's probably about right for cruising at the speed limit. It's feeling good. Converter's locked up, not getting any clutch slip. I think we'll just head out to the empty industrial estate and we'll do some clutch adaptations. We're in fourth gear, third gear, it's downshifting. It's quite smooth. And for people that are really into the Turbo Lamiks, I'm just going to go to the adaptations. So you can see everything is 0. The controller has done no learning on the clutches at this point in time. This is just base map. But as I mentioned in the intro, this is a built transmission, so it is essentially like new. So normally they don't need to adapt too much. They drive pretty good straight off the bat. Dude, 50 k's an hour. With that, did you air down? Right. You hear that turbo? We're cruising, it's working, we're in 5th gear. Guys, if you're wondering, you can't actually get boost pressure over CAN bus on the BMW. That's why that is pinned at 99, but the Lamik isn't doing anything with boost pressure. It gets all the torque from the DME, and you can see going up this hill, 200 Newton meters at 2,200 RPM, so obviously we're off boost anyway. She's working.
Oh yeah.
The transmission feels great. Suspension feels kind of strong. Strong's a good word. Okay, here's the error that I was worried about. Electrical power supply. That is something to do with the battery going flat about 20 times over the last year while it's been sitting in workshops. I'm not too worried about it, but it's something that we do need to work out, or Alex, the owner, needs to work out. Dude, trans oil temp is at 48, which means we're going to be able to... Yeah, go right. We're going to be able to do some adaptation soon. Can hear the diff.
Can hear the diff.
Yeah, so this has, I can't remember what version of diff it is, but it's an aftermarket LSD. It's making a bit of noise. Mind you, it could just be, it's all solid mounted and everything as well, so that could just be...
Everything is quite fresh too, so it might need some bedding in of things maybe.
That's a good point. A little bit of a vibration noise, but not bad for what is going to be a 1,000 horsepower setup. And it should idle like this, even when it's tuned and turned up. This is kind of wild. Also, 1,000 horsepower street car with leather and carbon everywhere. I like it. Alcantara, oh. Yeah, it's doing everything right. We're at 52 degrees. We'll be able to start doing adaptation soon. Let me just hook it left. In fact, guys, it's driving really well. This is about as good as you can get when you go for a first drive with an 8-speed swap. I mean, it feels done, but we need to make sure it's going to do adaptations. We'll get some heat in the transmission. We'll come back to you shortly. All right, so we've just hit 56 degrees, and now we're getting the A on the display, which means it's ready to do some adaptations. Now, if you're doing this for the first time, what I generally do is try and find a quiet road where there's no other cars around, and you just come to a stop, which Shane's going to do now, if there is no one around.
We are safe, stopping.
And then just light load through the gears. And you basically want to catch the A coming up on the display. So it'll come up in 3rd. There it is. And just need to hold the power at that point and let it go through the gears. 4th. We get a 5th in a second. 5th. And as soon as it starts doing that, we'll start getting some values in here. So yeah, it's done clutch 4 adaptation learning already. And guys, yeah, so I'll just drive around like this for 10 or 20 minutes in the cars and just let it do its adaptation, get it right up into 8th gear, because it will adapt. It will adapt on the 7th to 8th shift. And that's it. You just drive around slowly, light load. That's how the controller learns the clutches. All right. We may as well do that, and we'll come back to you when we got some values that mean it's getting close. All right, so we've done 3 adaptation cycles from 3rd through to 6th gear, and these are the numbers that we've got in here. So on clutch 3, 4 and 5, it has made some adjustments to its base figures, I guess. That's the way it does. And essentially what it's doing, it's learning clutch wear, or it's learning how it needs to apply pressure to the clutches to make it smooth. It's quite clever what they've done with these Lamiks. I'm going to go back to the main dash. We are coming up to a higher speed zone, so we're just going to let it make a little bit of boost, see if the torque figures make sense. If this was a standard flash car, it would be fine, but with the tuning that's done on it. All right, so we saw about 400 Newton meters then. I'd say that was starting to make boost.
Just starting to come into boost.
Yeah, so that's probably about right. That's probably about right. Oof. And we're in 6th gear, and we'll do the adaptations in this high speed zone for 7th and 8th shifts. Dude, it's working. It's
working great.
I think it needs some nicer suspension. It's got too much start spoil suspension
I
for
couldn't
me.
deal with this. It's fun, but yeah,
we're old.
Better in Alex.
But man, it's pretty wild for the car that we're riding in right now. What it's capable of, or what it will be capable of, is incredible. All right, we'll give you guys an update shortly. We should get the 7th gear adaptation soon. Got the A, and we just got to get it on the 6th to 7th. There it is. So we'll just see how that affects our adaptation numbers. We've now got some adaptation for clutch 1. So that's how it works. It uses each of the shifts, and basically knowing what clutches it needs to make that shift, it can make adjustments to those clutch pressures and fill times, like a factory one. It's pretty clever. I was just explaining to Shane, when you're in P1 and you're doing adapting, if you're trying to get the next gear and it's not doing it automatically, you can just upshift, which I think is what Shane's just done.
Just done into 8th.
Cool, and that has made some, yeah, it's moved some stuff around. Clutch 2 is not done, it's just leaving it its default setting, which is not a bad thing. There's nothing wrong with seeing zeros. You just want to see some numbers populated across all the clutches. I think we're good. You want to just downshift Forza Camera, 6th gear, again, 5th, go to 4th, roll onto it a bit. It's quite loud when it starts to make boost.
That wastegate is obnoxious.
Obviously the wastegate is plumbed in. Could you just do go M2?
And again, there we go.
All right, so now we're in sort of full power mode. We've got the loud exhaust. You're right, downshift again. It's 5th, 4th, and accelerate again. It's quite loud with the exhaust open. That changes it from the luxury leather-filled thing. Sounded pretty good. Relatively gentle.
Yeah.
This is still running the 600 horsepower tune. I know you probably weren't even full throttle then, but that was pretty good.
Yeah, that was about half throttle, and it still rolled on quite smooth. It wasn't a sledgehammer in the back, but crisp.
Nice. All right, I think we're getting somewhere. The F80 8-speed is working. Tran seems happy. It's been pretty smooth. There was no slip when it shifted. So we're going to take off in 1st gear. Go to P3. So we'll have manual mode, and that'll be a bit faster, more aggressive shifts. And obviously you've got to now shift. It won't shift automatically unless we hit the limiter, the rev limiter for the shifts. So yeah, manual mode. We'll see how it goes through the gears. Violently, I think would be a fair assumption there. Now look, that was good. The shifts felt solid. It didn't slip, it didn't pause, and it felt aggressive, which is what we want. We didn't want to lose the DCT aggressiveness when you're giving it a bit of a caning. We'll go left here. I liked it. I kind of want to do that again, but with the window open so we can actually hear what's going on. This car's still got all of its sound deadening, so the exhaust sounds a bit funny with the windows closed. Yeah, slow right down to like 1st. Alright, it works. It works. I like it. It's pretty, it's relatively calm. Like, it feels stable.
It does. It seems pretty well sorted. I don't know whether that's an 8-speed thing or the way it's been set up, but it's smooth, just goes through the gears.
I do know this is the second car Alex has set up, so he knows what he's doing suspension-wise. That's pretty good. I like it. It's got burbles. Everything's working well. The 8-speed integration is spot on. Oof. We've done something good. Do you want to go back to automatic mode? Mm-hmm. Actually, we'll try sports auto, so just P2. So we're now in sports auto, and we'll do another loop around the block. Just see how sport mode mannerisms are. Keep in mind the base maps with the Turbo Lamik were designed on a petrol BMW, so they're normally pretty good if you put them in a petrol BMW, and it's pretty much spot on. I think we will need to raise the rev limiter a little bit, because I think it's only letting this car rev to about 6,200.
It seemed to hit the limiter quite quick, so there's something going on there that we need to maybe address.
Well, you might not realise, the engine limiter I think will be 7 or 7.5, but the gearbox will shift at 62.
Aha, that felt like what it was doing.
Yeah, to be short shifting on you. So this is sports mode. Shifting at 3,000-ish. It's faster shifts too, as you see me jiggle around. Dude, sports mode's sweet. I think everything's sweet. Touch wood or carbon fibre. We're good. Alright, we'll head back to the shop. Daniel's jumped in for a quick test drive.
Yeah, well, I guess it's my mate's car, so if anyone should break it, it'd probably be me, right?
Also, he got to drive it with a DCT with this engine, so a little bit more comfortable with it, or aware of what it should be like. Does it seem good?
Yeah, it's heaps better than DCT.
We're in P7, so we're in full manual control of the gearbox, which we didn't try with Shane. So we get a little bit more RPMs out of it, faster shifts again. Thoughts, Daniel?
It's pretty nice.
You always say that.
No, it actually is really nice. Compared to my old F80, I like this gearbox a lot better than even the factory DCT.
I was trying to show the camera in the first part of this video. It's smooth, like an 8-speed should be. But then you put it into this mode, and you can have your fast shifts.
Yeah. This hopefully will really bring this car alive.
We didn't do that before.
You gotta test it. That's what the speed limit's for.
Brake boosting.
It's pretty good. Definitely need to turn the boost up though.
Yeah, I did tell them we're running it's really a run-in tune. It's the first time the motor's done any real driving.
Yeah, so it's at like maybe 18 pound at the moment, I think.
Is that all it is?
Yeah,
I thought it was
620.
20.
Yeah, 620. So it's just got a lot of mechanical grip, this thing, so your 600 feels like
safe.
300.
Yeah.
It doesn't really get squirmy or move under you. It's, but this is actually really nice. I like it. Pretty good. Probably put some Ks on this setup, give it back to Alex and let him actually drive his car.
Yes.
Once. And yeah, it'd be good to turn it up. See.
Do you reckon it's going to make 1,000?
I don't know. I reckon it'll probably do low to mid 900s.
That's as close as makes no difference. We're talking 1,000 wheel horsepower here.
Yeah, but I think Alex wants the full figures.
What's the number?
Probably, if it goes sort of low 900s, we'll probably put like 100 shot on it, just to bring it on a bit earlier, and it should go probably 1050-ish then.
Alright, I think I'm going to end the video off there. Guys, if you want an 8-speed for your F80, we can't help you yet, but soon. We've got to get some proper firmware. It does feel solid.
Yeah, it feels good. It sounds sick.
Yeah, we've got to get this firmware sorted from Turbo Lamik that makes it a bit more of a plug-and-play affair. I still think there's going to need to be custom coding done on the chassis side, but we're getting there. Yeah, definitely stay tuned. It's a thing. Start getting your parts ready, because this is going to make the F80 platform handle a lot more abuse, properly set them up if they want to drift them, which is the main reason this got built. And I think it's going to make some faster quarter-mile times.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, the G80 is a good thing. It's got the right gearbox, but bloody hell, it's not very pretty. So to have a F80, which is a beautiful thing, that can do similar things to what the G80 can,
That'd be good.
that's sweet.
We had a pretty nice video then, and then you've just offended a massive amount of people saying
Massive
that.
amount. I'm sure only 3 or 4 people bought G80s, right?
All right, guys, catch you on the next one.
They seem good.
Yeah, it's heaps better than DCT.